Hello, this message is for anyone out there who's unsatisfied with their present job, their present boss, company you work for, culture, unchallenged, unrewarded. My name's Kyle Gantos, and I founded MeetYourGig.com 5 years ago. But for the first 10 years of my professional career, I was job hopping, I was working for different employers, I really was unchallenged, and I got sick of hearing people tell me, well, you don't have this degree, or well, you don't have enough experience to do this or to do that. And one of the jobs I had right before the financial crisis was working as a recruiter. And so here I am, no clue what I'm doing other than picking up the phone and calling different executives to potentially match them with a job that the company I was working for had contracted. And hated the job. It was impersonal. It was high volume calls. It was sales. It was all about me trying to make a commission. It wasn't actually about helping individuals advance their career. And I hated what I did, and it really was more transactional. And uh, I had been thinking about going back to school, so I'd never encountered that barrier anymore. And fortunately for me, the financial crisis happened, and I got let go, and decided to go back, complete school, and decided not to stop with my undergrad, decided to go get my master's. And here I was, my first year in a top 25 MBA program. All my classmates, it was about a 100-person program, and all of my classmates were all, the first few weeks, we're all just chasing that consulting internship. It's all about getting that internship and then getting that job. And when you work on class projects, when you work on consulting projects, when you go have beers with everybody in your 100-person class, you get to know everyone. And so here I was working on myself, getting my master's degree, and this feeling started coming back of, you know what, feels like I'm playing someone else's game. It feels like I'm not doing what I want to do. I'm just doing what I got to do to keep up or do what everybody else is doing. And I hated that feeling. To make it even worse, every company that recruited from Ohio State would send these armies of recruiters to campus. And most of these people were in their mid-20s, early 30s. They had never worked in any of the jobs or accomplished any of the goals that we were looking to accomplish. And yet it was like this stupid version of speed dating where they would ask us questions about our experience, and our career services department had prepared us to do all these STAR behavioral responses to basically prepare to try to win this speed dating game. And I kind of lost it once you start realizing that there's some really high performance leaders in my program, but then there are also some people that, you wouldn't trust them to babysit. You wouldn't trust them to do some simple tasks. They're fake. They don't have real leadership. They take shortcuts. They cheat. And yet some of these people are getting moved on to the second and third round because they're good at the speed dating BS. And so it was that moment right there where I just decided, you know what, I don't understand this system. It's inefficient. The wrong people are empowered to do the wrong things. I knew this firsthand being a recruiter, being a headhunter. And so for some reason, I finally, after 15 years of what is it I want to do, I found my purpose. And from that point forward, I set out and I interviewed over 1,000 entrepreneurs, CEOs, executives, HR, VPs, headhunters, recruiters, hiring managers, job seekers, career fair organizers, career services executives, and I wanted to understand every stakeholder perspective in the process to understand, why does it work this way? Is this really the best system we've got to advance your career? It seems like the two people who matter most are the job seeker and the hiring manager. If those two are a good fit, they're going to be happy every day. They're going to be successful. The company's going to do well. Yet we've got applicant tracking systems, online applications, recruiters, headhunters, phone screens, all these people and technology that are not serving any purpose whatsoever other than to filter out good people, to make you frustrated that you're spending 40, 50, 60 hours submitting hundreds of applications just to get a handful of phone screens, to have somebody tell you that you're overqualified, you're too experienced, you're not enough experienced, you don't have this degree, you don't have these skills. When all of the really successful business leaders I sat down with, those serial entrepreneurs, those CEOs, those executives, it was interesting to me because recruiters and headhunters, if you ask them, what do you look for? They're looking for experience, education, skills, work gaps, salary expectations. But you ask the people who actually run the business, what do you look for? and they're looking for things like passion, problem solving, performance, communication. And so there was this huge divergent way of thinking, and it started to explain all the inefficiencies. And so what I did was I set out to try to better connect executive level job seekers with their dream career opportunities. And you have to kind of look at this in a different way, because if you were a warrior, if you were competing on the same battlefield with the same weapon at the same time with 1,000 people, none of you, it doesn't matter what your strategy, your preparation, what your skills are, it's going to be impossible for you to consistently get in front of, to win that battle, basically. And the same thing is true with your job search. If you do online applications, if you go through recruiters, if you wait for anybody beside yourself to create opportunities, you're going to settle. You're going to get frustrated. And when you only have one option, then you're going to end up settling. And that's what happened to me for most of my career. And so I start this vision, this goal, this purpose to help connect the really ambitious leaders who want something more with their dream opportunity. But in order to get it, you got to think differently. You've got to act differently. You've got to be more entrepreneurial. You've got to be able to differentiate yourself from thousands of people who've got the same experience and same education as you. And it is possible. You just have to work smarter. Unfortunately, you got all these mainstream recruiters and headhunters and career services professionals who were former recruiters and former HR executives and headhunters. And so they've trained the mass mainstream population to think that the only way you're going to get ahead is if you hire some resume writer to do your work for you, or if you go through this program, or if you put the right keywords in your LinkedIn profile or your resume, it's going to magically have all these people lining up. And that's BS. That's not going to work. So you've got to think and act differently. And when you do, when you actually learn how to treat yourself like a product, then you can differentiate, you can bypass the intermediaries, you can generate 650% more meetings with the entrepreneurs, with the CEOs. How do I know this? Because that's literally what I did to line up 1,000 interviews. And then instead of trying to win some game and communicate your qualifications, what you can do is you can actually get to know people. You can actually personalize the experience. You can actually showcase all that leadership you know you're capable of that you can't showcase through job boards and recruiters and phone screens and all that nonsense. You can actually get in front of the right people, build relationships instead of transactions, discover their business challenges, and then show them, educate them, present a plan for how you can take their business to the next level. When you do this, there are so many opportunities out there. It's called tapping into the hidden market. Instead of waiting for something to be published and competing with 1,000 people with the same weapons on the same battlefield, in this case, you actually go out and you do the things everybody else is either too lazy or doesn't think to do, and you do it better than they do. And you consistently do that in front of lots of people, and you can find consulting opportunities, you can find full-time executive level roles, you can be perfectly happy, but understand what's going on in the marketplace. You might even start a company with somebody. But wouldn't you rather be proactive today and have multiple options for the rest of your career instead of every 2.5 years getting let go, corporate restructuring, merger, acquisition, new leadership change, unchallenged, unfulfilled? And what do? You go back to the job boards, you do all this time, you get a couple of phone screens, you get one interview, and you accept whatever you can get, and the process just repeats and repeats and repeats. And as the workforce becomes more commoditized, it's only going to happen more and more and more, and your compensation is going to go down because it's not hard to find qualified people. So if you want to play the easy, click a button and everything magically happens, you're never going to get ahead. If you're willing to think and act differently, then I can show you step by step how to create and execute a process that consistently creates opportunities, not just now, but for the rest of your career. So if that's you, if you're that person who knows what you're capable of, but you're just, right now, you don't have the opportunities, the exposure you want, there's a way to do it, and it's life-changing. It's life-changing, but like anything else, you got to work for it, and you're going to pay the price either way. Either you're going to settle, or you're going to create opportunities. And if you're the kind of person who wants to create opportunities, go to meetyourgig.com, go register for the free 2-hour training, and I'm going to guide you step by step on how to get exactly what you want to create as many career options as possible so that you can be happy, so that you're in 100% control of your career. Take that step, take that initiative. Nothing happens great in life if you put it off for tomorrow. You got to make it happen today. You got to take the initiative to do what other people aren't willing to do, and if you do, you're going to stand out, because I'll tell you what, there's a lot of mediocrity out there. There's a lot of lazy, entitled excuse makers who are just looking for a paycheck. And if you're willing to do a few things differently, you can outperform them every minute of the day and create opportunities they can only dream of. MeetYourGig.com. I hope to see you there. Let's get started. Let's get you trained. Let's have you get out there, create opportunities.